Mic check, mic check. All right. Just getting set here. It's just about that time. Looks like the mic is working, and just like that, 3, 2, 1. My cat was off, but we're live. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate everyone being here tonight, whether you're watching live or watching this back. I do appreciate you popping in. I understand everyone's busy. Everyone's got a lot of things to do, just like myself and everyone out there. There's always more to do, right? So anytime you spend with me, I'm greatly appreciative of that. And I think I got to look into the stream settings more. Let me write myself a note on that because I feel like sometimes the webcam is good, but then sometimes it's not. And maybe that's something in my settings. I'm not the most technologically advanced individual for some of my age, but got to look into it. So let me do a quick note on that. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure I got the all chat on the side here. Warmer weather, it's crazy. It was just Memorial Day weekend. So much going on for me, and I mentioned it briefly last stream, but messed up my ankle. I was at a Memorial Day party, and I decided like there was a football game, right, or just like a two-hand touch. Like I don't know these dudes that well. Like I'm like, oh, I used to love playing pickup football when I was younger kid, right? So I was like, all right, I'll hop in. Why not? Like the very first play, I don't even like go to dive or anything. Like I just am like running to like go out for a pass, and I just like roll my ankle, and now it's like all black and blue. Going to the doctor tomorrow, make sure it's all good. Should be fine. It's definitely better than the day after, because day after I was like, oh my god, like going up the stairs, up and down the stairs is a complete nightmare. So I've been dealing with that, and then I got a busy weekend ahead. Going to Croatia next month, or start of July. So a lot of things coming up for me. A lot of things coming up. So I'm gonna take advantage while I can. I can't do much right now with the ankle, so do another stream. Why not, right? But again, thank you guys for being here. Say hello to everyone real quick. DB first, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. Michael Tucker, howdy, hello, hello. Dear SGME, what up? Tetron has a bright future. Tetron has potential to be the same level as DFV in 10 years. DB, thank you. I really appreciate that comment. It's very nice of you to say. Good Bay to the moon. Someone help me with this timeline. Jamie Prophecy 741 emerges out of the other 84 years ago. Jamie's share count is like 305 million for a while. Jamie offers 45 million shares. New share count is visible by 741. 50 million preferred shares. It's not a round number, I thought. Wendy, hello. Thanks for being here. Let's fucking go. KK, what up? What up? Thanks for being here. So yeah, I updated, I'll go in and out of this a little bit. I call it the GameStop Ultimate Canvas of like everything just going on with GameStop. I'm going to try to get back into the habit of adding it. I took this one out here because this is no longer accurate in terms of cash per share and just all of the numbers since the share offering. So, the quick little share summary is right here. We also got the little CandyCon summary, a little separate canvas of what they currently had when I made this. They have a few more faceplates at this point. And again, I really want them to continue to do more with private label brands. I think that's certainly an opportunity for them, and it's of course easier said than done, but execution's key. And at some point or another, they're gonna have to make a big move. But this story is just so epic and just keeps going. And you look at the chart, right? And what like this is the monthly chart, right? These are monthly candlesticks. Just crazy this breakout we've had here. And obviously, we got what 2 trading days left, so we'll see how this candle closes up. And then if you go to the 5 week, these are weekly candles. So obviously we had this insane week a couple weeks back, a drop off. Then the uh, at the market offering of the shares was completed, and that's where we saw this, little jump up right here. And also, as I have it, this is the most accurate summary of the past month or so. Yeah, this is literally exactly the past month. And he goes, oh, Roaring Kitty did this, but okay, well the stock literally doubled right prior to him coming along in any shape or form. So just food for thought there. But this is, a quick summary right here of the share offering. They raised 933 million. It's going to be a little bit less because they have to pay Jefferies, who's like the underwriter, and allowing them to raise this capital. And the average sale price was 2074. And they'll probably get net like what 920, maybe 915 million approximately. I think it's like up to 1.5%, and it's up to, not necessarily guaranteed, 1.5%. Jeffrey is not sure the exact terms on that, but now they have approximately 351 million shares outstanding and $5.70 in cash per share, for a total of nearly 2 billion in cash and marketable securities. And you look here, they created the share offering in the pre-market, created a drop off. This was the average price at which they sold shares at. And then post-market on Friday, they announced that it's completed, has a jump up. And then that's where we see, if we zoom out, or zoom in rather, This is, the Friday afternoon after hours, and it's pretty much held this 20-ish level for a little while now. So with that being the case, we'll continue to see what happens. Like, obviously, there's strange things. Like, look at this one volume stick right here. This was very bizarre, right? It's like a massive amount of volume, and a lot of people talk about the swap set to expire. You have the endless volume and open interest on the call options for June. What is it? June 21st, 2023, or sorry, 2024. That's the year we're in. So definitely, this $20 level is very significant in terms of those calls and the potential of them being exercised. And I think last checked, it was like 113, or we could just check it right now. There's like a ton of open interest on that one particular option, right? And why that's a factor, right? Obviously, it depends if it's exercised in terms of like how many shares are actually required on it. And there's all the theories around there. We have this is like the tinfoil side over here. We got the Wu Tang tinfoil. We got the UBS tinfoil, right? Or not UBS? Yeah, the 4chan UBS supposedly, right? Uh, they're unwinding their position and the share offering is allowing them to do that. There's all these different theories. I would like to believe it's true. I think it'd be great. And Richard Newton did a great video breaking down his perspective on it, but I just feel like we've seen too much BS over these past few years. So it's really hard to just, oh, this is definitely it, right? I just don't think you can do that. That's just me at least, but I prefer to be cautiously optimistic. That's really the best way I go about it. But if we go to the calls, you go to 20. Look at this massive open interest, right? Like more big volume today, huge open interest on these, right? So if we take this number, times it by 100 shares, that's 13 million shares. And then you divide that by approximately 351 million. About 3.7% of all shares outstanding are theoretically allocated to this call option. And again, it really comes down to if the individuals holding this option actually exercise. That's definitely a factor, but it's just crazy that so much of the shares outstanding and post offering such a large like percentage, right? You might think, oh, 3.7 is not that large, but for one particular option, how about all these other options, right? There's another 20,000 open interest here at 25, another 40 at 40, you have another 23,000, and then you go up the chain and you have all the way up to 125. What's crazy is now because of that huge run up we had just a couple weeks back, where we're looking at here. I'll put this more towards the beginning. Zoom out. Look at this huge, or we should zoom in rather. This huge rally here in this like pre-market time frame, and then it dropped off, and then this after hours are going into from Tuesday to Wednesday, where Wednesday it did wind up declining, and then just trickled off the rest of the week. Pretty much got to where it was at the start of the week. It is obviously a very volatile time. Some people got in, some people got out. There's traders, there's investors. You always got to find your own cup of tea, which just brings me to this quick graphic. I'm a long-term investor. Investors invest for the long term. Investors actually invest for the long term, and it's very true. And there's traders and there's investors. A lot of people you talk to, or I talk to, at least say, "Oh yeah, I invest." I'm like, okay, well, what are the fundamentals? Why do you believe in this? How long have you been in it? Oh yeah, I just bought it last week. Like, when it goes to this price, I'm out. I'm like, that's not really investing in my eyes. That's more so just trading, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But to me, investing is buy and hold. Trading is I'm in, I'm out. I have these targets and whatnot, and it's all about finding your cup of tea, right? And in the stock market, there's various flavors of tea, and you got to find what your preferred one is. For me, it's mostly just buy and hold. I'll do the occasional trade, like I sold a put. I was very fortunate to sell a put this past Friday. Nothing crazy, just like a $12 put for that same strike, June 2021. 2020, what the heck? June 21st, 2024. Not a huge premium, just collect a little something, and I genuinely didn't want to get exercised on it. If I did, so be it. $12 a share, I think, is a great entry point for GameStop. Of course, that's my personal opinion. Always do your research and make your own determinations. I really, really think that's important. I always try and stress that on this channel. Always just documenting my journey. I never ever want to tell you like, oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Do this because I'm doing it right. No, that's not the business I'm in. But for me, I was like, okay, $12 is still a long way down. I don't think it's going back to 12 within a month, so I'll collect a little bit of premium, and then on top of it, that cash can earn a little bit of money in a money market account, and then I could use that extra cash to buy shares, do something else with it. I don't know. We'll have to see. So for now, just letting that ride, and I do expect GameStop to be above 12 on that date, of course, though nothing's for certain. Definitely nothing's for certain, and don't listen to me. Seriously. Always listen to yourself. Like, that's the best way to go about it. But in talking about the options, right, you look at each week and just how much open interest there is. And if you did the math on like all the open interest, it's such a large majority of shares. And you have to remember 25% is attributable to directly registered shareholders. And then you also have Ryan Cohen shares, which we did get an updated filing where it's about 10% at this point in time. Where was it? RC Ventures, 10.5% post offering, right? And he's allowed to own up to 20%. I don't think we're just suddenly going to see that, but there's speculation. Is he going to purchase shares again at some point? I think maybe if it goes a little bit lower, it's certainly possible. Although what I should do, another idea, a graphic of a chart and Ryan Cohen's buys, because I feel like or other insider buys too. That's probably another good one. Really trying to, just get more organized, guys. When I got this new computer, I tried to organize all the files from the beginning, but now I'm catching myself, right, at Obsidian here. I was doing a little bit of organizing before, right? You see, I got so much going on here, and then there's also folders within. So trying to get that all, nice and neat and keeping it neat. But going back to the offering, right? Average, they have 570 in cash per share. So about 25% of the share price right now is at this current time is represented in cash. So you also have to count, you can subtract their debt, but it's such a minuscule amount. But, some people look at Yahoo Finance and go, oh, GameStop does have debt. Why does everyone say they have no debt? But it's accounting for the store leases, right? When you look at this number, 602 million, that's accounting for store leases. And obviously this isn't updated because cash per share here is 392 and 1.2 billion. So theoretically, right, with 2 billion in cash and debt of 602 million, and I put in quotations because most of the debt again is the stores and the leases. That's considered debt, right, in terms of where it is on the balance sheet, and Yahoo Finance just summarizes things, right? If you ever want specifics, whether it's GameStop or any other company, you should always look at the filings themselves for the company. Like Yahoo Finance is a good place to start, give you some like overview of the information, but if you want the details, that's where you have to go for the exact numbers, right? And also the current ratio, I think this is going to be a little bit higher. That's total assets, total debt. So 2.1, doing pretty well, and that number's gone up over time as GameStop continues to make itself in a better position. So theoretically, if they wanted to close every store and become an online business, right, which I don't think they're going to do, I'm not saying that, but theoretically they could pay off all the leases, right, and minus 600 million, they still have 1.4 billion left in cash equivalents, marketable securities. So they're also going to be able to earn significantly more interest at this time in a high interest rate environment. So a lot going on here. And of course, though, they can't just depend on earning interest on cash, especially with inflation, as I believe it will come back and honestly get worse. So with that, started storming all of a sudden here, but I was like, what's that noise outside? It was just rain. So totally just made me lose my train of thought, though. But let's hit the chat real quick. Because all of a sudden I was like, boom, boom, like, what's going on? It must be pouring out there. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Big time. Summer storm out of nowhere. I understand fundamentals, however, whoa, chat disappeared. I understand fundamentals, however, what they're doing to GME is crime. Robert, thank you for being here. Listen, there's a lot of crazy things that go on around it, right? And this graphic right here says it all. All right, let's make it bigger. That's the forget GameStop graphic. Shout out to Market Watchdogs Donkey Dong on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. He posted this under like something I tweeted when I was basically just being sarcastic, like forget GameStop, and it's just so funny. Like look at some of these headlines. Forget GME stock and consider Shopify for exponential gains. Forget AMC and GameStop. Buy these TSX stocks instead. Forget GameStop. Buy this TSX stock instead. Buy this gaming stock instead. Forget GameStop. Buy this gaming. Buy these 5 stocks instead. This is my personal favorite though. Forget GameStop. Here's how to make hay with U.S. farmland. Like, look that up. That's seriously a real one from March 2021. Like, type in that exact article if you're curious right now, in like a side browser or tab. Forget GameStop. Here's how to make hay with U.S. farmland. That's my personal favorite of them all. Forget meme stocks. Buy these 3 high growth tech stocks instead. Forget meme stock. Put your money here instead. Forget GameStop. Forget GameStop. Forget GameStop, right? It's truly comical. It's truly comical to me. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Tucker, hello. Amber, thanks for being here. Wendy, what up? Sup, Tetron? Chad, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Because I can, what's up? Jackson, still buying away? Yes, sir. Hey, it's got to do what's best for you, man. And that's what's best for me. I'm a value guy, not an options guy. Can you explain the potential significance of June 21st and what might happen? So, I'm not super big on options, right? But what everyone's thinking is, or like what a factor is. And actually, I'm glad you said that because it made me remember another point I wanted to make. So when you look, right, and you see all of those options, when they're in the money as it gets closer, because typically market rate makers in general, right, whether it's GameStop or any company, are writing options, and this is the one we have in focus here, are writing options, right? All up and down the chain. Puts, calls, in the money, out of the money. There's a seller, there's a buyer. So they're generally the ones writing them, right? And then collecting that premium. Although you do have the ability in your brokerage to sell an option, just like how I sold a put, which selling a put is a bullish position, if you're not aware. But the $20 call here, if it gets closer and GameStop's at 20, 21, 22, as these options get in the money, the market makers, right? They go out in the open market theoretically, right? And acquire the shares because if these call options are exercised, right? Let's say GameStop theoretically is at $30 on expiry on June 21st. If that's the case, then whoever has these $20 call options, they have the right to buy shares, 100 shares at $20 a piece. They have the option to do so. So if the option was exercised, then that person would be entitled to 100 shares at a $20 price point. And if you're the market maker selling that option, you don't want to have to go buy shares at $30 a piece and then give them to someone for $20. You're taking a $10 loss per share, and especially when it's scaled up like that. So as the price starts to rise, you start to go into the open market to buy shares because you want to hedge your position essentially because when you're selling the option, like you're hoping that it expires out of the money. So, and that's kind of what we've seen in the past where all of a sudden like and you see these insane options written all the way up the chain, and when the price starts moving up very quickly, all of a sudden like market makers are like, oh wow, we need a lot of shares because if we don't have shares and this thing keeps going, like the $20 call if GameStop's at $100, like we're going to take an $80 loss per share. That's massive, right? And again, it's all scaled up. So that's why, people say, and I personally believe that January 2021, and when you look at the SEC report, it was mostly, retail shareholder interest. And then you also had the gamma squeeze, and the gamma is just accounting for the fact that it could keep going higher. So with that, there's not a lot of short volume. And when you look at the SEC report, it shows very minimal amount of the buying volume was actually shorts buying to close. And to close the short position, you buy to close, right? So that's where we had this chaotic event. And with so much interest and so much excess capital, I really think if they didn't turn off the buy button, one, who knows where we would be today? And two, I think this thing would have went way, way higher. And remember, this is split adjusted. Pre-split, this number is like 4 something, and on top of that, in the pre-market, it was at 5 something. So when you look at what happened here, all of a sudden you get halt, 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 and also now, the media will say, "Oh, it's all because of Roaring Kitty." All the meme traders suddenly got in at the same time. But what's so different about now than January 2021 is there's a lot of people who've just been buying and holding. Yes, there's people buying and holding going into January 2021, but a lot more people were flooding in exactly January 2021 when everything started to get crazy. Whereas this time, there's a lot of people just bought and held consistently. And when you look at the just federal data, right, of the average person's like saving rate in late 2020 into early 2021, it was around the 30% savings rate or something like that. And now it's like 3%. So it's literally 90% less than it was at that time. So people had a lot of excess cash to put into the market into a lot of speculative plays. So when everyone's rushing into GameStop, and at that time, January 2021, I have people who I hadn't talked to like since high school or just, friends I maybe stay in touch with, like, oh, I know you do stocks. Like, how do I quickly get a brokerage open and quickly get into GameStop? I had people texting me that during that one chaotic week in January 2021. And that's when I knew I was like, oh my gosh, like this is truly like unprecedented. People don't even follow stocks are talking about this, and that's how you know it gets huge. And my favorite meme from that is like it was like overnight, the day before they turned off the buy button, they had or someone made the meme of like Eric Andrews like let me in, let me in, like that's like everyone at GameStop market open tomorrow. And it was true, like that's what it was, and that's why you had the buy button turned off. It was truly unprecedented. And all these brokers say, like especially Robinhood, no, oh, we would never let that happen again. We've solved our problems, but we'll see. We'll see, right? That's my go-to phrase. We'll see, because we have to see. We have to see. We don't know until it happens. So, That's just the way she goes. But yeah, this sounds kind of low. Oh, I thought the lights just flickered. Sound. Oh, the ads are really loud when they come on. Oh shit, really? Let's see. Yeah, I see. I got to look into my mic too. I appreciate these comments. Maybe I need a new mic. I don't know. I'm really like, guys. Lately, I'm trying to be so frugal. Like, I'm really trying to save, just accumulate as much as I can. And I'm just looking at life in the future. I'm like, there's gonna be like so much stuff to buy. So, like in terms of like just really getting my life going, right? And just getting a house one day and all that. And that's gonna take more time, right? And I'm not necessarily planning to do that right away, but so I'm trying to be extremely frugal, but it's probably worth investing in a new headset, right? And I don't want to keep it too close so that it's like you know what I mean. So I'm gonna look into that. I got you. I appreciate that comment. Let's go Tetron. If it's dipping, I'm buying. Ben, thank you for being here. Long time viewer of the channel. Appreciate you very much, man. Buy dip. Hey, Edna's, your words, not mine, but thank you for being here. Very much appreciated. So, I also will be updating these graphics. I'm going to drop off 2019 and these two. This one I'll probably slide over and I'll keep it for the last 4 years. And, summarizing the preliminary results, we have them right here. And again, to be perfectly clear, there's more work for GameStop to do. There's definitely more work for them to do. And I just love this journey. And you have the swaps coming up expiring. There's just outside looking in, people go, forget GameStop, right? And you kind of see why these articles are put out there and why the average person has a perspective. Like, what is GameStop truly doing? And it's just when you look at everything as a whole and you zoom out, you're like, wow, this is so deep. There's so many levels to this between swaps, options, the fundamental turnarounds. There's just so many aspects as to what's going on with the company and just people talking about it in different ways. Like you got guys like Richard Newton, you have Morant's Rants, you have Lightning Wire, you have people who only post on X, you have people who only post on Reddit, you have Badass Trader, Platinum Sparkles. You got all kinds of different people, right? Like all kinds of different perspectives and going about things in different ways. And that also to me is very unique. It's like so many different people with so many different approaches, like learning in a lot of various different ways, right? So, having said that, the most disappointing thing was definitely net sales, and they announced the preliminary earnings the same day the share offering, so kind of like a 2-for-1 in terms of like quote bad news. Definitely the Q1 earnings were very disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. One, top line revenue decline was essentially 28.7%. I did a little summary over here, and then SG&A was 33% of revenue. So Q1 is, typically their slowest quarter when you look at the previous Q1s, but it's held up pretty well. And now 2024, pretty significant drop off. And I think it's just partly inflation and just the average consumer doesn't have as much, accessible capital. And I also saw another stat today. I should have saved it. I really try and throughout the day, like email myself stuff I see on Twitter or online when I'm just reading about finance, GameStop numbers, whatever it is. And basically the stat was that video game sales year over year for the month of May, or maybe it was April, was down like 3%, right? So obviously that's not good for GameStop generally in terms of the market. But year over year, the one like silver lining of this, you could say, well, this Q1, 2024's Q1, the net income is a little bit better year over year because the net income, where are we down here, is going to be between the preliminary results, have the expected number, not the exact, 27 and 37 negative, right? Negative 27 million, negative 37 million, compared to a net loss of negative 50.5 million for the previous quarter, the same quarter of last year, that is. So then looking at SG&A, it is lower overall between 290 million and 300 million compared to 345 million in the same quarter of last year. But the downside is, right, where I did the math, it's 33%. And what I really liked, and you look at SG&A right here, is year over year, every quarter, like as a percentage of total revenue, it was significantly improving. And unfortunately, we didn't see that at this point, and that really is because of the sharp decline in revenue. And then cash reserves are overall down 227. And again, the share offering is, happening in Q2. It just happened, so we're going to see it show up in the Q2 earnings report, right? Or in the cash flow statement, you'll see like proceeds from share issuance. And with that, we won't see it in Q1. So we do already know here that it's going to be a cash equivalents, marketable securities are in the range of 1.073 billion to 1.093 billion. So almost just under 1.1 billion. And that's versus in the same quarter, or not same quarter, geez. Last year, it was last quarter. 1.3 billion. So it's down, right? Roughly 227 million. So we know free cash flow is roughly going to be negative 227 million when you account for everything, right? Because free cash flow shows the change of like cash from quarter over quarter. So we'll have to see. There's some speculation. Did they act on the investment policy because the cash reserves are down 227 million? That loss estimated to be 32 million. About 200 million is unaccounted for. So could the company have made a purchase via the investment policy? There's speculation of Bitcoin, gold, other stocks. Nothing at this time, just treasury bills, right? Which it seems like that's what it is. And also, in the filings, people are like, oh, the merger's already set, it's already happening, or the acquisition's already happening. But if you look, it says like at this time, like in this fine print, at this time, we could find it in here, right? If we scroll through it, which I also got right here. At this time, we have not currently made an acquisition. And then maybe, the next day if they did, then technically when they put the report out or put the filing out, yeah, they wouldn't have made it at that time. But at the same time, it's still possible that like they wouldn't have made it at that exact moment, but maybe like a week later or a day later, it's technically not at that time anymore, right? So it's anything, it could be any time after that. But Baby Morantz, Joshua, thank you for that. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the super chat. Much, much appreciated, my man. Thank you so much. But Baby Morantz, I like it. I'll take it. By dip, how much do you think UBS was stuck with? Michael, that's a great question. Definitely there's the theory of the bag being tossed from Archegos to Credit Suisse being tossed to UBS. And also, we keep in mind the whole Credit Suisse UBS situation. UBS didn't really have much of a choice in that. They didn't necessarily want to acquire, not even necessarily, they didn't want to acquire Credit Suisse in any way. The Swiss government essentially kind of forced it to happen because of the massive problem it would have created for the Swiss economy. Those are the two like largest banks in Switzerland. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's definitely hard to say. And, you got this speculation here that oh well, UBS, they got forced into this situation. They didn't necessarily want to be short GameStop. So with that, maybe now is the time for them to unwind it and to avoid the 10% SEC insider. There's all these different theories out there. So, hi friends. Call IV came down today. More calls from me. Anthony, thank you for being here, man. Best of luck with your calls, man. Definitely best of luck. Always got to be careful with those. Lots of volatility, but if you can stomach the volatility and you understand how call options work, power to you. Wish you all the best, of course. Liabilities will drop similar amount, cash decrease. Yeah, that's a good point, dear Streamy. Definitely a valid point. And then definitely let me know what you guys think about Wu-Tang. I put out a poll today, and it seems like just based on the replies, most people are like, no way. I'm like, will they mention it in the earnings report? I'll be honest, I'll give you a sneak peek. I was going to tweet this out tomorrow, and I don't want to skew the results, but I don't think so. I just see a lot of people talking about it. So sometimes I want to be clear, too. When I'm asking a question, it's not like as a poll. I'm not thinking like, oh, yeah, like I think this is going to happen, and that's why I'm asking it, right? To see if people agree with me. I'm just asking because, I see people talking about this, so I want to see where everyone's head's at. So definitely, if you haven't already, follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. Same logo, the T, at Tetron Invest. Put out information on GameStop and some other just various finance stuff. Like I just like keeping track of what's going on, talking about it. And the highlights tab is pretty cool. I just realized you could do this. You can add certain highlights. And I've tried to write these long form posts here and there. Not super long form always, but, and I think this is a great point. I don't know if I brought this on a stream yet, but something the GME bears don't understand. It's irrelevant whether or not Roaring Kitty posts. There are many individual investors who have been steadily accumulating GameStop shares for years through dollar cost averaging. Myself being one of them, and not necessarily that everyone's being like that, and I can't speak for everyone, but no matter what happens today or tomorrow, there are many individuals who will continue to buy and hold. And increased volatility naturally attracts traders, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone has their own individual approach. Some trade, some invest, some do both. What I find truly amusing is the amount of attention GameStop receives from those who dislike the company and or the stock. I genuinely can't imagine spending so much energy on something I dislike. Shout out to the haters out there. They don't realize it because all they do is boost me more. When you comment something negative on my tweets, I'm thankful. I'm literally thankful. I'm like, great, that's fantastic for the algorithm. It's going to get more eyes on what I'm putting out and the work I'm putting in. So I'm greatly appreciative of the haters just as much as people like. Of course, I like you guys much more. That will hang out with me and be respectful and be nice, right? But I can handle the haters. It's all right. Bring them on. So be it. If you don't have any haters, I feel like you're doing nothing right. I mean, you're doing something right when you start have people like consistently coming to your page to tell you like, oh, you're such an idiot, oh, you're so wrong, and I'm like, you're still coming. Like, what's it like? In the Wolf of Wall Street, you see this? They're calling me the Wolf of Wall Street. It's like, oh, honey, all publicity is good publicity, right? Like I always think back to that scene. But whether you like it or not, they only bring more attention to GameStop. So please keep talking and posting about it. I figure I'd troll them a little bit at the end, but and this is dollar cost averaging if you're not aware, just no matter what the price does, right? This is the price represented. It goes up and down. And then time. Over time, you just consistently buy because to me, that's the best way to invest. Whether it's GameStop, Bitcoin, S&P, anything you're interested in. If you want to accumulate a position for the long term, I think the best way to go about it is to consistently buy because you never know what's going to happen in the short term. I know there's TA guys who will tell me differently. That's just not me, and I truly think that even if you have TA, if news drops out of nowhere, good or bad, it's going to create a massive swing that's not going to be accounted for in the technical analysis, right? So that's what that is, and that's how I just see it. But this was the summary I put out. I tried to, the bright spot. This was for the full year earnings. And I love AI graphics. Like I always say, AI is the coolest, but the scariest thing. Like this is the coolest image. I could have never made this. These thumbnails I make, I could have never made these if it wasn't for artificial intelligence. So incredibly thankful, but also incredibly freaked out by it because it's like, what's to come of this? I don't know. We'll have to see. What is Jimmy Melton's obsession hating the stock and investors each day? It's weird. It's like they're just random people hating on it, or Wall Street folks with vested interest. Movier, I think there's some people potentially with vested interest, right? But I also definitely think there's people who just, they genuinely, like that's how they like to spend their time. And to me, it's like mind-boggling. I can't imagine like spending so much time on something you dislike. Like if you dislike it, like why are you putting your time and energy and mental focus towards it, right? Like everyone only has 24 hours in a day. Everyone only has so much mental capacity and energy and time to spend on their phone or time that's free time. And it's like that's how you want to go about it. And I genuinely feel bad for people like that. I really do. If you're that like hateful and like that's how you want to spend your time, like you probably got bigger problems going on in your life, right? And not the case for everyone. So people, maybe they just enjoy being a troll, and that's fine, right? Again, that's fine. All they're going to do is bring more attention to myself, and they're going to bring more attention to GameStop because they're engaging on it. So it is what it is, type of thing. Good video as always. June, I think, kicks off a big summer. I'm expecting to fill up the graps and get in the 40s by end of June. Garuv, Gauruv. Garuv. Yeah, I think I said that right. I'm really trying to improve on my pronunciation. Sometimes I'm terrible with them. I do apologize. But yeah, I think that's certainly a fair analysis. That actually kind of brings me to the next point. I love when you guys say something in chat. I'm like, oh yeah, I have other tabs open and things I want to talk about here. So, looking at January 2021, this is kind of a similar chart, right? This is the January 2021 chart. And then you go to right now. This would suggest, right, we're going to see a little bit more downtrend and kind of leveling off and then another massive jump based on what we saw in January 2021 if the pattern is the same. And if that is the case, that would mean a quote unquote, bullish summer. So we'll definitely see what comes with that. But it is certainly interesting how similar these charts look, right? When you just, I mean, this person, Gavin May, is not the only one. I'm not too familiar with them. I've seen them here and there, but not the only one who said it, right? I've seen other people put it out there that it's like, what's going on? So a lot of people are noticing this. Is lining up with June 5 earnings. Short fuck, who knows? I'm just curious what options cause premium through the roof. One thing's for sure, another spike will come. Always does, BNGME or any other stock. That'd be bringing us to 1513 for another big move. Interesting. Feels like January 21 all over again. I always like to read the comments. I always like to see what people are saying. Both good and bad. Like you always want to try and digest everything, take everything in. Like, okay, why is this person saying this? What is this person like? Why are they coming at it from this angle? Why do they see it like this? Right? Have they done the research? Have they done the homework? Right? And even if they haven't, you still okay. Well, why does this person automatically think this? Right? And that's why I read comments. So I mean, just in general out there, both good and bad on GameStop. And again, shout out to Market Watch Sucks Donkey Dong. Love this username. But, you can't explain this, right? Like, why do these just suddenly, like, Blockbuster liquidating, just suddenly make moves, right? What is it, BLIAQ? And I'm not saying, like, oh, yeah, like, GameStop's gonna go buy out, like, Blockbuster liquidating, right? But this is bankrupt company, so why and this is a pink, like, why does this just randomly do this? And most brokerages, you don't even have the ability to do this. And the reality of it is, like, Mark Cuban put it best in terms of, and this was, Blockbuster stock when it ultimately went down. And then here and there, right, we've seen these just like random little jumps. And look at that, January 2021. It's certainly odd, right? And then again, in late June, oh my gosh, late August, like this correlates to GameStop. Not always perfectly, but there's been multiple occasions though, like including January 2021 and right now, where you just see it start to have price action out of nowhere, and it's like, why? This is the the what's like just left over of a company that went bankrupt forever ago. So it's like, why does this happen? And Mark Cuban said in like his like Wall Street Bets post, he wrote a whole thing, and at the time he came on like post January 2021, basically saying the goal is to never cover the short because you don't ever have to close the position if it goes all the way to zero, right? And then that's liquidity to use, right? That's the theory. So some would wonder, like, look at this, right? And then out of nowhere, like this particular year now, right, in 2023, it wasn't really doing much at all, and we just see it have these kind of like random spikes, especially in early 2021. But look at late 2023 coming into this year, right? Like the past like 8 or 9 months or so. It's like, what is going on? Why is this doing this? Most people can't even buy this. So what? How does this happen? That's a whole rabbit hole in itself. But it's all just food for thought, guys. All just food for thought. That's for sure. Your biggest hater, hey, 420 Bonk Smoke. What up, man? Thanks for being here. Hate this Wutong tinfoil BS. Anthony, no, listen, that's definitely fair. And again, another good point by this account. KN always speaks facts, so I'm bringing them up. But it is like when I have the screenshot pulled up here, I gotta make these bigger. So like it is in the code, right? It says GameStop Corporation ordinary shares, Class A. GameStop Ordinary Corporation ordinary Class A shares, GME found. So seeming right, like if you're a verified shareholder, you'll get access to this in some shape or form. But this might not be GameStop, right? Or maybe, I don't know that much about Pleaser DAO and this whole album thing. Like I'm keeping an eye on it here and there, but I don't know like too many details. But there's always the possibility they're trying to just get the most eyes on it possible, right? And maybe it's connected. They connected to GameStop in some way that it's like it doesn't actually connect it. Like how do I put this? Like there's no benefit to GameStop in terms of like what's happening with it, right? There's all these possibilities, these theories, and that's fine. Tinfoil's fun here and there, right? I'm totally okay with that, but for me, like I think you should really take it with the utmost grain of salt because until GameStop says something, it's not for sure. That's really how I look at it because if GameStop doesn't say it, I don't believe it. Even like the trading cards in the beginning, a couple articles were like, "Oh, GameStop's about to get into PSA trading cards." I was like, I'll wait till I see it on the website, and then I saw on the website. And okay, now I'm going to talk about this. Now I know this is actually happening, right? Because you see it from GameStop themselves, and that's also where going back to this, like, and where I speculate on this, right? Forget GameStop, forget GameStop. But when you look at this, right, and a friend said this to me, I'm like, it's a pretty good point. Why would this person like share all this information and then say, sorry, NDAs prevent me from revealing exact positions or giving more details. But you just already gave all this information and now you don't feel like saying any more. Like, I don't know. It just seems odd. It just seems odd to me because if you gave all the specific details, then a lot of people could connect the dots, right? And I don't know. I have such a hard time believing anything that's extremely speculative, right? Just with all the information we've seen come and go over the last several years. So I love the journey, though. I definitely love the journey. Yeah, let me text it over. My assistant just came over. No, I'm just kidding. Just passing along password for something. This should be it. Only problem with X Twitter is way too many bots replying. Groove, you're absolutely right. I do find it annoying. Definitely a problem. I should probably hop on the other social medias. I don't know. It's just really a grind to manage it all, and I'd rather just go all in on like a couple right now, just like X and YouTube. And that's where I just see the most people talking about finance and stocks. And I thought about being on Instagram. I was a while back, kind of moved away from it, but maybe I'll do it again. But you're right. Yeah, it is annoying with the bots. I always try and mute them, hide the replies when they comment the BS on my stuff. And it's annoying, but it's the reality of the world, right? It's the reality of the world, unfortunately. What's the significance of the $80 price point on the way up? What's up, Tetron? I'll run it back, homie. Donko, thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, what's the significance of the $80 price point on the way up? So yeah, I've heard, a couple people say that, and why people are saying it at this point. When you look at the pre-market, and if you look at smaller candles, right? If we go back, you can see it double topped, right? This was a crazy pre-market day. I remember waking up and it was up 100%, and I was like, you ever seen a Tom and Jerry meme when it's like when you search for an answer on Google and you find a whole Quizlet and you're like, oh, like the golden, like that's how I felt when I woke up and saw GME up 115%. I'm like, what the heck? I like sprinted down. I was like, all right, I gotta do a live stream before work. That was a very rare like morning live stream for me, and I was like, too much going on. Gotta talk. Gotta cover it live, right? So, and obviously, that was the high point for now. For now, but why people are saying it is when you look right here in the morning, it was a double top at like literally if we zoom all the way in at like these lines, right? Like see here, it's like a graph in the background, the very faint lines. This is like exactly 78. This is exactly 76. Then look here at exactly like 80. It's literally exactly 80 where these candlesticks touch the top. If we, oh my gosh, you can zoom in and literally infinitely. So look at this. It's at exactly 80 twice in this 10 minutes or 15-minute span, right? This candle, the very tip top is 80. About 10 or so minutes later, the very tip top again is 80. So if you look right here, exactly 80. Exactly 80. So that's where people are saying, if it breaks that, who knows what happens? We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out. Stick around and find out. Whoa, what did I just put all these dots there for? But truly remarkable. And then also people too, when they say, oh, this is all retail. Like, you think really retail was buying right here to here in this very short period of time? That particularly, definitely no institutions, right? So strange, so strange. And then look how choppy this chart is. This is a 5-minute chart and it's choppy, and it's because of all the halts. Like if you look at the 1 minute and you go all the way back, right? Look how choppy that day was. And not even that week. Like the amount of halts that week was insane. I think it was like 30 or something like that. Oh, you can only go so many, right? I guess unless you go premium, I'm good on that. I'm not going to be doing that, but definitely similar to 2021. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's certainly looking like it, right? And I was, a little doing a little bit of TA back in the day. Back in the day, no, not back in the day, but looking at the indicators. But I don't know. I just feel like with GameStop, it's so unpredictable in the short term. And people talk about the Golden Cross has occurred now, and that's going to be extremely bullish. I just say we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think great. Love to see it. Shouldn't hurt, right? Cautious optimism. That's the best way to go about with GameStop to me. Because again, I've just seen so much come and go over all these years in terms of information, theories, ideas. I've covered them. And here we are, right? Here we are. It's all learning experience. But what's significance or, oh, sorry, read all that. Sorry, sometimes hard to keep up a chat. Reminds me of real estate crash videos. Moa's not going to happen. There was no real estate crash, just creating a bunch of emotions, and it's funny. Joomer, thanks for being here. Listen, MOAS, to me, everyone defines it in their own way. You're going to define your own way. I'm going to define my own way. And it's just the idea, to me, very simply put, immense amounts of demand with very limited supply. I want the Wu-Tang thing to be real simply for the absurdity factor of the story to be told after the fact. Chris, thank you for being here. I like that. I like that, right? That's a good take because it's like, imagine it's like the catalyst is of the Wu-Tang album this whole time. Like that would be crazy. That is actually crazy. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, it's a good point. Like, and then after 3 years of dollar cost averaging, finally, what Roaring Kitty just tweets out of nowhere, and then GameStop is a huge part of like the one of one Wu Tang album that's supposed to not be played for 100 years, right? Like it's crazy. That would be a crazy story, right? Hello, Manuel. Thank you for being here. If GameStop is like the Black Swan event, like Roaring Kitty foreshadows, then it's probably possible that GameStop is getting ready to deploy something that will beat down all the AI stocks that charge so much for their products. Maybe they will be able to make and program your own tech. Fuck if I know, but you should watch the video I posted in Moran's Rant's Discord. Austin, I'll look into it. I got you. Um, Send me a link. Well, I'm in his Discord, but I'll have to dig back for it. I got you. Is it just like Austin on there, or where should I look? I'm my little scratch pad here. Add this note, but yeah, like you said, like you don't know, but that would be super cool, right? Like they have to do something big. Like I think anyone who's in it long term, right, like gets the story and like what's at stake here and why it's such a unique story and what all that is underlying, right? Like and how complex it is and how long this like psychological game has gone on, so to speak. And again, always make your own determinations. I'm just calling it how I see it, right? Personal opinions only. But with that, to me, the company does have to do something big, whether it's making their own tech, launching a gaming platform, launching an extremely successful private brand and or small acquisition of some kind. And people always think, oh, it's going to be an acquiring like a known company, right? Or just some publicly traded company. No, they could just acquire a small $100 million tech company of some kind and implement it into what they're doing, and then use their brand name to scale it, right? That's just a random example. But the fact of the matter is, they do have to do something big to ultimately get revenue back on track. And then subsequently, as revenue's rising, net income needs to rise with it because they've trimmed the fat at this point. They've gotten themselves to the point where they're lean, they're efficient, and whoop, wrong thing. And you can see, right, like looking at these, the net revenue and the margins, you can see they turned a net profit. They just turned a net profit last year. Like it's a $320 million swing on the bottom line, despite top line revenue going down to 700 or 800 million. So they really improved the bottom line. They set themselves up to be much more efficient, and the net margins are better. But you can't survive like just scraping by, right? Like yes, they can. Like they're not gonna go bankrupt, right? There's literally no risk of them going bankrupt anytime remotely soon, and something unless something super dramatic changes or they make a really silly move, something like that, right? So having said that, they have time to decide, but at some point or another, right, they do have to get revenue back on track to growing and net income growing with it. So then once that's happening, then I feel like there's no stopping the company, and whatever's underneath is going to bubble to the surface because if revenue's rising, net income's rising, how do you keep bet? You can't bet against it forever, right? So what they do, that's to be determined. That's the big question, right? And I understand, some people are, oh, I haven't done anything. Like, it's taking so long. Like, it's been all these years. But I would rather them take the time and make the right move. And this is where you have to believe in the management team, right? Because at the end of the day, they're making the day-to-day decisions behind closed doors of how the company proceeds. And having said that, at the end of the day, they do have to do something, but I believe in them to make the right move. So if it's going to take some time, that's right. And people will bash like, oh, they did the NFT marketplace and it didn't work. Oh my god. And it's like, okay, that was one small thing. And where do you see them, right? Looking at these numbers, where did you see them take a massive loss on that? Did they? No. It's trial and error. And then the GameStop wallet, we've seen them dabble in other things a little bit, and just nothing major though, right? So if they do something major, they have to be like 1000% sure it's going to be beneficial to the long-term growth of the business, right? So that's how I look at it. It's easy, and again, it's easier said than done. It's all comes down to execution. Like they have to execute, and if they execute, they will grow, and whatever's underneath will bubble to the surface. That's just how I look at it. And obviously, Q1's not ideal, but a lot of time left in the year, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, GameStop sells 45 million shares above 100. Sell me more. Yeah, no, listen, dear Jimmy, I would be fine with them doing another share offering if it was significantly higher, right? Like, let's say it does break that $80 mark, it's at $100, something insane. If they offer shares at that point, right? Like, if you think about it, if it's at $100 a share and they sell just 1 million shares, that's literally $100 million from just 1 million shares. And that would take what the share count from 351 million to 352. Such a small amount of dilution, and it would just bolster the balance sheet more. So that's to be seen, though. That's definitely to be seen. And as of right now, they can't do any share offering like instantaneously. They would have to put another like ATM offering in place. And when you look at the chart where they put out the offering, right, it seems like it would have been approximately here, like this Friday where we had the jump. It would have been approximately Friday where they filed for it, and then the offering actually was announced here, and then it was completed right here. So with that, they would have to file it in advance, right? And so it would be kind of nice to see them have an offering in place, but then again, there's like, okay, well then you don't really know when they're selling shares, so that's the way it goes. But TA is astrology for men. Jimmer, I like the way you think, man. It's funny. Whoa, chat updated so fast, but let's make sure it's fun in the monster company. Exactly, dear Jimmy, exactly. And there's the idea of the holding company, the investment policies in place. What are they going to do with that? I've seen the idea of Bitcoin float around, and again, I like Bitcoin, but I don't know about GameStop owning Bitcoin because I don't think every shareholder is going to be fond of that decision. And obviously, you can't always make everybody happy, but I just don't know if it like aligns with what they do, right? Although it is, turning into a technology company, that's the perspective they've tried to take on and evolve to. And having said that, Bitcoin is new and emerging technology, blockchain technology in general is. So, it's all just food for thought, and it's all to be seen what they do. Like, if anything, I would say if they are going to touch Bitcoin at all, do with such a small amount where if it's like 100 million, the upside potential is high. If it works out, great. Significantly more asset valuation of assets on the balance sheet. And then if it doesn't work out, fine. You still have 1.9 million Can't talk today. Jeez. 1.9 billion in cash equivalents, marketable securities, so they'd be all right. Let's say 621 options are exercised and market maker delivers a stock. So let's say UBS to close a short position theoretically wouldn't buy the pressure and then immediately go down. So if so, what will stabilize price unless acquisitions so institutions go long or more shorts try to exit as well? Anthony, yeah, those are definitely good points right there. Yeah, it's possible, and it's all it's there's so much going on right now. It's hard to like wrap it up all together and just think about it all once. Like, okay, I'm trying to clear my mind as much as I can and just be as logical as possible because there's so many different things. You have the swaps expiring, you have the UBS situation or theory, 4chan post again, very big, very much grain of salt. You should take it with. You have the Wu Tang thing. You have earnings coming up. You have all this cash that's been raised now. Why do they do it now at this particular time when they've had a strong balance sheet for a while? Why now? That's kind of the question I've been asking myself over these past couple weeks or since the offering started. I'm like, why now? Not in like a bad way, but what what is the significance of now? And I think with time we're gonna find that out. And I couldn't tell you how soon. Maybe not today, tomorrow, maybe not even until next year, right? I don't know. I don't know, right? And I'm not gonna pretend to know, but it seems like there's a reason that it's now, right? And what's interesting, in general, when you look at the volume, you see zooming out, since this big move, we've had fairly consistent higher volume. And when I say fairly consistent, it has been consistent. And when you say, oh, well, this isn't as big as back here, right? But looking back here for such a long period of time, we didn't have volume like that, right? And then really see it when you look at the monthly. Like these are the weekly candles, right? But look how much volume we have right now. It's the most volume we've had since early 2021. And you zoom out even further, and then you look at the monthly candlesticks. Regardless of what happens these next 2 days, this is the most volume we've had since March 2021. All just food for thought, guys. All just food for thought. And obviously here, this is a stock dividend split. There's a lot of theories about that and how it's going to benefit the stock. And I don't know. That to me is still a mystery. It seems like, theoretically, a stock, it is like in the form of a stock dividend, meaning every one share got paid out 3, essentially, and then the price cuts in 1/4. So if theoretically more shares were sold short than existed, you basically 4x that, right? And it just digs them even deeper in the hole, theoretically, right? So, I mean, we're never going to hear Ryan Cohen say, oh, yeah, like this is why we did it, this is exactly what happened. But he has tweeted stuff like, short sellers are the dumb stormtroopers of the investing galaxy, right? Or not that word for word, but that would, it just shows like he understands what's going on, in my opinion, right? Like in a very general way, not like saying anything specific, but I think he's very aware that, the bad like media and like forget GameStop, right? All that kinds of stuff that goes on with the company. Like he's definitely very aware of that. So, and I would like to see them collaborate more with creators. I've long said like Dr. Disrespect. I think that would be cool. Like I don't know. I just think he's an entertaining guy. He's a unique guy. He's a pretty loyal fan base. He has someone like that doing some kind of collaboration with GameStop. You gotta use code Dr. Disrespect, get 10% off your first order once you become a pro member, right? Something like that. I don't know. I would like to see them kind of do stuff like that, but I guess they really have to have something in place before they do some kind of collaborations where it's something in place that they're really pushing to grow. And obviously, you want to grow your private label brands that they're trying to do, such as CandyCon. And again, I hope we see more of this. But you really want to, if you're going to spend, like that's huge marketing dollars, right? Essentially, like that's how it would be broken down when you look at the financials. So if you're going to spend marketing dollars on a huge creator in the gaming space, then it has to be very much worthwhile, and you have to have like everything firing on all cylinders and make sure you know exactly like what you're trying to promote and where you're trying to take things. So I'm okay. Again, I get why some people are like, oh, well, things are taking forever. Oh my gosh, this is so slow and boring. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's not the investment for everyone. Anyone's like, are you still in GameStop? I'm like, yeah. They're like, why? Oh, right. And they start talking as if like they're paying attention to what's going on just because oh yeah, every retail company's dying. Every Amazon's taking over. Well, I've heard it all, right? I've heard it all. And I just say, don't believe me, just watch, right? Don't believe me, just watch. So just keep an eye on it. That's all I say. I'm like, you don't have to invest. Like, I'm never trying to tell anyone what to do. Like, especially like just talk to people like friends in real life. And I have my one friend, like he bashes me for like holding GameStop. And like we're buddies, it's fine. Like we talk shit to each other. But he bashes me for holding GameStop. Meanwhile, he yolled on Costco calls last like earnings. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before. And Leolo's like tons on Costco, weekly Costco calls. After the stock is already up 40% year to date. I'm like, bro, you just YOLO'd on call options for an earnings report of a value company that was already up 40 or 50% year to date. Unless they had a blowout quarter, what did you think was going to happen, right? And he unfortunately lost money. Although he's YOLO'd on other things, right? And it's worked out really good for him. So he's like, it's part of the game. But I'm like, to me, that's just crazy. And it's like, that's the person that's bashing me on GameStop. And Colin, if you're watching this, man, no offense. All love, brother. All loves. But we love to just like bust his balls about that. So just like, people like, oh, you're in GameStop, whatever. And I'm like, just buy and hold. Just buy and hold. And his big play right now is Kava. This guy's like, yo, he's texting him today. And our friends, like stocks group, he's like, Kava's running, boys. Like, you know how that goes in the stock group chats. I'm sure you guys have them with your friends or Discords or whatever groups you're in, right? You always have the fun memes and information being put in there. And I appreciate, hearing people involved in other things. And that's how I get insight. And I know a little bit of what's going on with Kava right now, right? I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize it's a public company. But, and there's one near me and I tried, like, oh, pretty decent. I understand where you're coming from. He's like, it's an extra Chipotle. I'm like, okay, brother. But if you buy a GME from February 2021 till today, the average will be $22. I find it funny that the last few weeks it's been carbing an average of 22. Because again, yeah, no, it's definitely a great point. And the biggest cost, right? You could say with being in GameStop, like, and again, I think in the long run it'll be worth it if it significantly goes up in terms of the price action. It'll be worth it, right? Holding through a very volatile few years. And at the end of the day, I think anyone that's in the long term, that's ultimately think what's going to happen. Again, make your own determinations. Don't just trust me or anyone on the internet. But having said that, the biggest loss I would say I've taken, and just people who've held GameStop this time, is your opportunity costs. If you theoretically bought Nvidia, held it, and sold today, you'd have made a ton of money if you bought a year or two ago, right? But having said that, you don't know what's going to happen, right? What if Nvidia took some time before what happens has happened, right? And this whole AI revolution has really just come to fruition and just become bigger and bigger part of life, and just more and more people talking about it. Every single company is like AI, artificial intelligence on every earnings call, right? So with that, right? Like you don't know. So that's why to me, I get it. Like people are, oh, like you're missing out on other opportunities. I'm like, that's fine, because when GameStop makes a sudden big move out of nowhere, I think it'll be worth it, right? In the long term, it'll be worth it. So that's just how I see it. But opportunity cost is always something to account for. Chief Keef, keep your mind open when listening to it. Chief Keef, like, boom, boom, boom. Love so like that guy. I remember in high school I used to listen to that. Oh my god, I used to love all like the hardcore rap in high school. And now like I listen to rap lyrics. I used to love like Lil Uzi Vert. I was like yeah. Like I don't know if you guys know him, but now I listen to these lyrics and I'm like, these songs are like these are the lyrics are just disgusting. Like the things that are being said, I'm like, I can't believe. I see now why my parents were like, why do you like this music when you're in high school? Like kids these days. Oh my god, I look at my younger cousin and just younger people I know. Your brother's a little younger than me, and like not necessarily them, but like people they associate with. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so worried for this next generation, man. Oh my goodness, like I didn't get a phone till like I think it was freshman year in high school, and now I feel like every kid has a phone. Like by what, fifth grade, sixth grade, maybe sooner. Like I don't know, it's just crazy. Like I feel like I caught the very end before things got nuts. And also now everyone, ChatGPT, write my essay, right? Like, and then there's like other AI programs that are like you give it your previous writing. Like someone was telling me about this. Like you can give it like your previous work, and then you can be like you basically get ChatGPT to write an essay, and then you put that essay into this other AI thing that correlates it to how you previously wrote, so it looks like your style of writing, and it's like at your level of grammar and just like level of writing. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like it's the scariest, craziest thing. Like AI to me is really going to change education forever. And I also think college is becoming less and less important. More and more companies are not requiring it. Obviously if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, things like that, you need college, right? Those are very specific examples, but generally, I feel like less and less companies are saying like, "Oh, you definitely need this. Like, this is an absolute requirement." And just because more and more, can be solved with machine learning and information. It's really about, you know, being able to utilize that information and have the like mental capability to do that, right? I'm kind of going on a whole tangent here, but what a time to be alive. That's all I could say. This is a crazy world we live in. Sometimes I look at, like, just think about the fact that when was Google created? Like 2000, 2004, 2002? I don't know. That's only been 24 years. Look at how far technology's come in the past like 20 years. Let's just say simple numbers. What do things look like in 2044? If and technology, the way it's advancing is like exponential. It's not linear, like getting better and better and better. It's like, like it's, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy and it's like alarming to me. And I when I be asking ChatGPT stuff, I'm like, please create an image for me. I say please, so when the robots take over, like, hey, listen, I was being polite. You have the receipts. I was always polite to y'all. I was always polite to y'all robots. So don't take me out. I'm one of the good ones. Keep me here on this earth, please. But no please or Tao tweet. Hello everyone. No sell, no sell. No name. Thank you for being here. GameStop 18 months of SG&A expenses in cash. They can have zero revenue for 18 months, pay their employees, and still survive. It's always good. It's a good breakdown. I didn't even think about that. Let's see what Pleaser Dow put up. Let's see. Tweet. I am following them, right? Just enjoy the teasing. It'll be over soon, and you're gonna miss me. Okay. Okay. Interesting. We'll see. Pleaser Dow. Still in shock that this guy rejected our 900 plus offer on a potato chip. If the tweet gets 1,600 likes, we will buy this $1,600 potato. No way. What the heck? That's yo. They actually offered it and they declined it. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That's actually nuts. Please Alkin Ligma. If it fits with the bubble narrative, tech is really expensive. What else could it be? They're also used to have a tech repair part of the business and sold it. Probably could bring something like that back. Just but a bit different. Yeah, kind of like what does Best Buy have, like the Geek Squad or whatever it is, so you can kind of get things set up there. I think that's definitely something they can get into. It'd be cool to see them, some kind of like maybe website development or coding and just something where people get educated, right, through some kind of platform they offer. I think that would certainly be very interesting. And looking at today too, very limited volume. And when I say limited, limited to relative to the last couple weeks. And you can see the average creeping up. I think this average volume is calculated based off the past 3 months worth of trading days. So this average was only like 3 or 4 million, I'm pretty sure, previously, and then all of a sudden, boom. And for a long time, we saw the volume average just continuing to drop off, drop off, drop off. Some attributable to DRS, some of it attributable just less people trading it because it wasn't as active. It was just kind of like slow moving for a long time. But definitely, this is the most activity GameStop's had in terms of people talking about it and just volume and a lot of different things going on in any recent memory, right? It seemed like a long time. Like looking back, right, and we'll go to the better chart here. During these periods of time, right, we had these big jumps out of nowhere. Boom, boom, boom. Little run up here. Big jump here out of nowhere. Big jump here out of nowhere. And again, most of these times with no news. Then big jump here out of nowhere. And they kind of just disappeared. We had a little one here for the first time in a long time. And just this period felt like forever. I felt like late 2023, it was just like stepping down, stepping down, stepping down, stepping down, right? And just really even after like mid 2022, right? After the summer of 2022, it feels like these big days, like these big pops kind of stop for a long time. So it's like with the theories of swaps and positions being rolled over and just all the funky things that go on underlying, right? Maybe it was all built up to this moment, right? And then also, some people talk about swaps that were 3-year swaps that are set to expire because, at this time when there was all this hype still around it, these couple of cycles after, people say, oh, okay, well, like this is going to die down. For people are going to forget GameStop, right? Forget GameStop, forget GameStop. People are going to forget GameStop by 2024, right? Still here, still chilling, right? So, Ute Clan is going to trigger Moas. Windfall, thanks for being here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm speculative about that, but we'll have to see. My mind running wild with the theories and questions. Me too, Austin. Definitely me too. That's why I'm trying to cover everything, talk about everything, but it's like my brain is like, and it's like maybe that's by design. Maybe there's something people are missing, right? Or that is like the main idea of what's going on right now, whether it be the swaps or this or that. But because there's so much information, it's like so much noise, and it's like so hard to focus. But that's all right. We'll see what happens. If we look back January 21 sneezing compared to current events and dates, what time frame are we in using the chart comparison in 2024? So if we are in comparison to it, I think, because this isn't the best, if we look at like the 1 year, right? Like theoretically, I think we would be right around here right now, right? So that would mean, because this was early February to late February, that would mean we'd be like a few weeks away, which does actually line up with the June 21st call option. So that would mean kind of the end of June. So I have a feeling though GameStop's gonna go crazy the first 2 weeks of July because that's when I'm gonna be on vacation. I'm gonna be in Europe. That's gonna be exciting. First time going there. But if anything crazy happens, you're gonna catch me. I'm like live Tetron from Europe. Try and get a quick video up. So I won't be able to do any streams though during that time, and I'll announce that when that point comes up. But yeah, definitely it'll be cool to do updates there and probably somewhere cool. Like what I should have did when I was in Arizona, I was hiking in like Sedona, which was a beautiful place. Honestly, probably the best place I've ever been to yet. I haven't traveled a ton. Again, I'm a young individual, so saving up, building myself up. Haven't done like a ton of traveling. Didn't do like a ton of traveling as a kid. You know, certain stuff like seeing the Hockey Hall of Fame. That was super dope, especially being a big hockey fan. You know, go Oilers tonight. Let's go. We'll see if they win. But need to remember to drink water sometimes. Always be forgetting to drink water. But yeah, if this continues, right, this pattern is the same where we have this little jump off, kind of trickle down, and then it would be lining up with the end of June into early July. That's if, we line it up the same. But again, history sometimes doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So if it's the same situation, it's going to trickle off a little bit, maybe back down to, I think we were saying before, like the 15, 16 range. And then we'll see. Does it retest? Here the high of it is 65, but if you count for pre-market, the high was 80. Do we retest that? Maybe. We'll have to find out. Always a reason it was done now. Ryan Cohen knows what he's doing, guys. He's not going to hurt his own pocket. There's a bigger picture we don't have the inside knowledge to understand. Tyler, thank you for being here. I think that's absolutely an excellent point. When I ask like why now, it's more just like I'm trying to like put the pieces together in the puzzle, if that makes sense, and think like what could it be? Like what is coming, right? Or like I'm excited in asking that question, right? Just to clarify. But I think with time will tell. Delta on the $20 strikes is 0.64, meaning the market maker has to buy 64 shares for every one contract the option holder exercises the option the market maker will have. I got a late start, gonna run it back. Matt, it's all good, man. Appreciate you anytime. Anytime you're here, watching a little bit of the stream, a lot of the stream, videos, even just following me on X, that's not me, but at Tetron Invest. Appreciate you guys so much. I really can't thank you enough for following me on this journey. Again, strictly documenting my journey, not in the business of giving financial advice. I don't want to do that. I want to just share what I think, go along my journey, and just call it how I see it, right? And I'm never going to get everything right. I don't think anyone out there is going to get everything right. And that's why it's always good to like keep learning amongst each other because people make mistakes, right? I make mistakes. Other people make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, right? So it's about continuing to improve and then correcting those mistakes and just getting to that next level over time. Buy 36 more shares per contract. I know he isn't out to hurt his pocket. We have trusted for a while, but it's been long enough. When you got it, some disagree with me, and that's okay. Anthony, no, definitely a fair point. It's always okay to agree to disagree. It's always good to discuss. Damn, chat moving too fast, but I'm going to say Nvidia is the kingpin, and they're all making a killing off the graphics card. Something going to happen and not worth it to pay so much respect for their product. Yeah, awesome to me. It's crazy. What's going on? Like I think I put it out the other day. Let's see. Yeah. In fact, it was up another 7%. That was after the big numbers after earnings. And today it was slightly up again, right? Another big day tomorrow. It could reach $3 trillion market capitalization. This is accurate as fuck, right? Nvidia basically just carrying the stock market, like in literally pulling, the NASDAQ to all-time highs. See, today it did reach a 52-week high, right? Yep, 1,154. Look at this market capitalization. 2.82 trillion. It's almost bigger than Apple, right? Apple's at what? Or Microsoft, maybe? Apple is 2.9. What is Microsoft at? These are just behemoths. Fucking ginormous, right? Like, it's crazy. And I get 3.19 for Microsoft. I get it that, and let's see, like, again, Yahoo Finance is good for quick numbers, nothing crazy. Let's see their analysis. They're expected still under 16% over the next 5 years. That's pretty remarkable, actually, considering its size, right? And let's see what NVIDIA is expected by. And looking at NVIDIA, it's crazy to me. Like I get it. Like they're growing massively right now, right? Look over the next 5 years, and This could be even bigger, some are saying, just with, I mean, obviously estimates are moving up now and like they continuously have been beating earnings, but it just seems like so overgrown, right? Like it just seems so overextended. Even the slightest bad news, the slightest decline, the slightest anything, like a quarter that's not a blowout quarter, and I feel like it's going to drop off significantly, right? Not to say it won't do well over the next 10 years, but it just seems like buying right now, it just seems crazy. Like, what is the price to sales? Do have a good current ratio, good balance sheet, good cash flow. Where does price to sales? Oh, up here. 35. Pretty wild. I mean, relative to what it's been, I mean, this is only quarterly. I would like the annual, but I guess it's locked through Yahoo Finance Premium or whatever. Not buying that crap, but I don't know. I do like following it, though. I'll definitely say that. So, all I'm going to say is video is Kingpin. Let's stay have a hedge for Jane. It takes a certain mentality to hold this investment. Not all people have it. It's all good. GameStop, can't stop, won't stop. Let's go. Amber, you got it right. You definitely got it right. I feel exactly the same. Like, that's why I say, like, listen, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And that's all right. To make up the delta for left to buy, dividends would be cool. Yeah, Amber, I think we're not anywhere there near there yet. Look, we have time, but I definitely would like to see dividends like in the future when everything's firing on all cylinders. They're rocking and rolling. I think it'd be a great way to just get a return on investment, and cash flow is key, right? In this inflationary world, this crazy world, I think cash flow is key. You know, your career and just your investing in general, like having cash flow, you never know what's going to happen in the short term, but if you have cash flow, you can keep continuing to invest and build yourself up through your cash flow. So I do like the idea of being personally also more involved in dividend stocks like in the future as I get older, right? I understand right now I'm 23, about to turn 24, so like I can take much more risk, right? And that's why like I've been accumulating Bitcoin for a long time. And I first looked at Bitcoin literally in high school in 2017, and man, and even before that, right? I'll tell you guys a little secret. I used to play online poker with Bitcoin before I was of age, right? I mean, not me, a friend, not me, not me, a friend, right? Not me, but this friend, right, would buy a Visa card, and at that time it was a lot less regulated in terms of buying Bitcoin. Use the Visa card from the 7-Eleven, go online, buy some Bitcoin, send it to a Bitcoin poker app and play. I'm like, if I was such an idiot, I was such an idiot, I didn't play poker. Me and these friends, not me, friends, these friends were buying Bitcoin and playing poker with it when the Bitcoin was at like 500 or 600 a coin, I think. It was like 2016. That's when I first found out about it. Like, it's magic internet money. What is this, right? Oh, if I just bought and held, right? If I just bought and held, man. Oh, but even if I did wind up holding it, reality is I would not have been mature enough in like my investing capabilities. Like I've learned so much since then. Even if I wound up holding it, I definitely would have sold some. You know, whether it's at 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, I'd be looking now like, I shouldn't have sold it, right? So you live and you learn. That's the reality of it. But I always love you guys conversing in the chat. It's always hard to keep up, so do try and read it all. But as GameStop has a short squeeze, you think that it will cause AMC to have a short squeeze? Clark, thank you for being here. Listen, the reality of it is that when GameStop runs, these other names tend to move with it, right? And there's basket theories around that and a lot of different things. But I think, to me, there's only one, and that's GameStop in terms of ultimate long-term performance. And AMC, any kind of rally they have, they just dilute because they're in such poor financial condition, and the insiders just pad their pockets so much. So to me, GameStop is the way better play of the two, and that's just my opinion. And yeah, sure, I think it will run when GameStop has a big move of some kind, but I don't think it'll run as much as GameStop. And I think even when it does do really well, right? What do? They just dilute, and it takes it right back down, right? And it's held up decently since, I mean, decently for AMC, right? But look at the 6-month chart for AMC, down 32%. Look at GameStop's 6-month chart, up 57%, right? So AMC just dilutes. Insiders just pay themselves a ton, and unfortunately, they're not doing anything to better the company. And I think private equity just has a grip on them, and it's a very dangerous game. Beat an AMC. Sure, you could trade it. You could, but I think just in a way different position in terms of GameStop, in relative to GameStop. While the gathering. Sorry. AMC will move up GameStop to divert low IQ investors to AMC. Dear SGME, your words, not mine. But yeah, no, exactly. There's so many people that ask me like, "Oh, what do you think about AMC?" And I'm like, ah. I remember talking to someone at a party once, right? I'll start talking about money, stocks, finance, people, like a party, and they're like, "Oh, I think AMC is gonna make a big move." And I'm like, all right, do I like this person? Do I want to rip them apart? Right? But I try and just say, I'm like, listen, be very careful. And like, I remember talking to someone at a party like a year or two ago, and I hope that individual sold, right? Let's say it was 1 year ago. Look at AMC down 90% since then. That the whole ape plan, right? Where they launched ape and oh, this is gonna save the company. It's the solution. Like Trade tweeted, it's the solution, not the problem. Don't complicate it, right? Look how that turned. Look how that turned out, right? And who's made out the best? The executives. They continue to stuff their pockets and just aggressively spend. If AMC had any chance of surviving, they would have to at least start breaking even like GameStop. Cut the excess cost. Operate as efficient as possible. Close down unprofitable movie theaters, right? And it's easier said than done, but it's just the reality of it. Just the reality of it. And what is it? CRM? What's going on with that? I saw a funny meme too on Twitter. It's like CRM down 16%. Nobody knows what it actually does. Like I get it, like Salesforce, like it's you know it's a platform for selling. I think at my job the sales guys use it, right, and it's supposed to be for like organizing client information and stuff like that and data, and it's served very well over a long time. But I'm not even fully sure like what it does. Let's see. Like I get it, but customer relationship management, CRM, makes sense. That's why they chose that ticker symbol. Technology that brings companies and customers together worldwide. The company services include sales to store data, monitor leads in progress, forecast opportunities, gain insights through analytics and artificial intelligence, and deliver quotes, contracts, and invoices. Okay, yeah, no, I see it. It's basically about getting the data for the sales guys, and customer data, like all that kind of stuff, right? Every company has their own form of data and AI, like implementation these days, especially. But they've been around for a long time. And what's the guy's name? The CEO? Mark Benioff, he seems like an interesting guy. He's been around. I think he's the founder, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he's the owner and founder. Yeah, co-founder. And I do always appreciate a founder-led company, like one that I like in terms of the cybersecurity space. It's been dropping off right now, this past year, but like long term, it's done very, very well consistently. Fortinet, and why I like them is, I mean, multiple reasons, right? And I think cybersecurity is here to stay. That'd be clear too. I do like cybersecurity stocks outside of GameStop. I think the industry in general, obviously, some companies perform better than others, but cybersecurity is always going to be here to stay. It's always going to keep evolving. There's always going to be growth with it, in my opinion, because there's always going to be demand for cybersecurity, and hackers just keep evolving, which means cybersecurity has to keep evolving in terms of the technology and like keeping customers secure, right? That's what it's all about. And they work with a lot of businesses, but they have a massive insider ownership. So I always like to look for that. And also looking at the people, it's owned by two brothers, Ken and Michael, and they are founders, right? Founder and founder as the people running the company. And I think, and also they're compensated within shares. And again, even if you're just in a GameStop, I do encourage. I'm not saying you have to go invest in other things. Like, do what you want at the end of the day. Some people do, some people don't. Totally fine, however you want to go about it. But always like be open to looking at other companies and get perspectives as to how they do things. And even if you just look at like Walmart or Best Buy relative to GameStop, right? Like I put these numbers down here recently, and for some reason Walmart doesn't have numbers in terms of percentages, so I was trying to compare like SG&A of Best Buy as a percentage of revenue for Best Buy and Walmart, relative to GameStop, and I wanted to see GameStop get to their number because 2023, GameStop's SG&A was 25.1% of revenue, and then for Best Buy, right, it was SG&A was 18.1%, right? So I'd like to see them get a number a little closer to that. And then Walmart, their SG&A for 2024 was 20% of revenue. So really like to see GameStop ultimately get down to having SG&A as 18 to 20%, right? Although those aren't direct competitors, I would say they're more like indirect because they sell a lot of different things. And Best Buy is closer comparison to GameStop than Walmart, but just, for perspective, right, on the general retail industry, that is. And in looking at Fortnite, right? When you look at their history, they never had debt, right? And out of nowhere, they take on $1 billion of debt in 2021. And I thought to myself, what the heck is that? I read the filings. They take off the debt
they take on the debt, right? They take on $1 billion of debt and basically raise $1 billion. They don't issue shares; they actually issue debt, right? It's at a 1% interest rate. Well, now that 1 billion, right, was added to their balance sheet. So had they not taken on that debt, and again, all just for perspective here, guys, had they not taken on that $1 billion in debt, their total cash would be only about 2 billion. If their cash was only about 2 billion, that's less they're earning on marketable securities and cash equivalents, such as a money market fund, earning high interest. So they basically paid like they're paying 1% in terms of interest, like a 1% interest rate, and then they're earning 5%. So it's essentially good debt for the company, right? So again, all just perspective there. So in a low interest rate environment, or with a low interest rate, it makes sense to have quote unquote good debt. And for me, like personally, I have one student loan left and I'm paying it off at the slowest rate possible because it is a 2.5% interest student loan, like from the government. So I'm like, okay, well, I have that much. Like, I could pay it off tomorrow if I wanted, right? Like, I have enough in savings. But I'm like, wait, I can earn about 5% in a high yield savings account, and then the debt is accumulating interest at 2.5%. So that's a net positive for me. But if the Fed were to cut interest rates all the way down, and then I could only earn like 1 or 2% in a high yield savings, I'll just pay off that debt then. That's fine, right? Because then it's not a net positive for me. So that's again all just food for thought and perspective there. So it's all about learning, guys. It really is all about continuing to learn. But any big game drops happening soon, Scott? You know, GTA, but that's still a while away. I mean, I wouldn't even say that's soon, right? So nothing that comes to mind initially though. But you know what I want to play randomly, guys? This is so random, and I might do a couple of gaming streams out of nowhere. I was thinking one time to do like a Q&A. Like I have the GameCube, the retro games game for the GameCube, which was like where you could play like uh Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and like all those like super old school games, like talking like OG, like like all the pellets, right? So I was like, maybe I should play some of those games sometimes and just kind of do like a Q&A thing, like just talk GameStop, answer questions you guys have, both about GameStop or just myself, right? Literally anything, like ask me anything, right? Literally an AMA, and then just run Pac-Man at the same time. I think that would be a fun little stream. So be on the lookout for that. Might do some of those in the near future. Thinking about that, but the game I want to play that I saw it, I've always wanted to, and I don't know I haven't, but Red Dead Redemption 2, like it just looks so awesome, and I heard so many good things about it. So I'm debating. So if I get that, maybe run a stream. We'll see. But in the next thumbnail, Nvidia power bombing the planet. Beast of Shield, thank you for being here. Appreciate you popping in. But it's funny. Yeah, I love this is where I love AI though. Like I love making like these images. Like it's funny. Like I just typed in like create an image of a mythical creature, a brolic, I mean, I'd say brolic, a strong mythical creature holding up the earth on their shoulders. And then I just add the captions through using like Canva, right? Stock market, Nvidia. Gotta love it, right? Again, AI, super cool, but super scary. AMC will hook up, but GME will squeeze. Michael, couldn't agree more. Right on, Amber. Don't you hate that AMC dilution is bad for GameStop stock price? The AMC bond sale for shares stopped GameStop from running past $80. Dearest GME, yeah, no, I definitely do. And I low key have thought for some time, like it annoys me, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it annoys me. And also, just people are like, it's the same thing. I'm like, no, AMC is so trash compared to GameStop, right? And I'm gonna wrap it up soon, but the last thing we could do is kind of go through my comments on this old video I made, right? It's my most viewed video all time. GME is the real MOS, AMC is a distraction. Change my mind. When did I post this exactly? December 29th, 2021. Wow, crazy, right? And look at AMC since then. Look at AMC. Since the end of down 96% over a 5 year period. Oh, brutal. Brutal what they've done to shareholders. At the end of 2021, right? Right here. Look where it's gone from. Split adjusted 382 to 4.5. Remember, split adjusted. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, no, it is annoying because you're right. That's a very great point that once they issue those shares, right? Classic dilution from AMC. It derails the GameStop rally, and it's like, why are they so coupled together, right? And I used to have the theory that it's like, you hedge, oh, they're the same play, same play. Put out all these media articles, like constantly tie them together, associate them together, right? And you could go long on AMC and in short GME, right? In terms of like hedging your position because they're moving the same, but I think it's much deeper than that. And I low key have thought like if AMC has gone bankrupt, if AMC went bankrupt, would that actually be the catalyst for GameStop because they wouldn't be tied together anymore? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's impossible, right? Like, I don't think it's impossible. So the thing is, though, like they're just gonna keep diluting forever. Like they have. The thing is, though, but I think it's 2025. They have like what is it, like 2 billion of debt payments due or something insane. And like look at their balance sheet right now. Again, better to look at the company's exact numbers, not Yahoo Finance, just an overview. But 9 billion in debt. I think like 1.5 or 2 billion of that is coming due like next year. So that's going to be very tough. Either you're going to have to issue new debt or issue a ton more shares, right? So we'll see what they do. And also look at their insider ownership. You think their insiders really care? They're getting like a fat paycheck every week. That's mostly not shares. So you think their insiders really care about the long term and the longevity of the company? Look into them and you can let me know. Have a good night, Tetra and all. Gotta go. Amber, appreciate you being here. Hope you have a fantastic night. Who will play Tetra in the GameStop sequel next year? Michael? I don't know, man. Yeah, the fact that people said that to me, like, what if you're in the next movie? I'm like, that'd be crazy. Like, that'd actually be, like, so surreal. Like, that'd be epic. I don't know. I forgot. What did someone say? I look like, someone used to watch the channel and say I looked like someone a couple times. And I was like, really? I don't know. But so let's look at the comments real quick. Look, it's 293 comments on this. I don't know why it's coming up in this format, but it took me a while to accept it, and I hate to say it, but you're 100% right. Say I respect it. This would have been a great theory in February 2021. It doesn't matter if they're both. It doesn't matter. They're both going to squeeze. I own both, and I hope we all make money. We're all in this together, so quit trying to divide us. Popcorn's worthless than nothing. Shout out Patrick Burpee. He's been with me a long time. AMC's been being short since 2015. Your lack of due diligence is a reason why nobody should follow your advice. Why cause division in the community when we're all seeking the same goal, which is to vaporize hedge funds and get a close to fair market? AMC and GME are not the only players in this, but they're the biggest. Please. I could see this being true. Interesting perspective. Thanks for it. These people in charge are probably smarter than all of us combined trying to make, quote, life-changing wealth off one play. I've always been curious myself and try to look at it from every angle to try and not get burned in the medium in the long run. Thanks. See? Appreciate that. That's actually a good comment. This one is just a comment type of thing, right? And look at this. It's so funny to me that this is my like most viewed video, 3.9K, right? I'm literally just in my basement. I'm just seeing like AMC and GME are the same, and I was just like, you know what? I'm so freaking sick of seeing this. I'm just recording a video real quick, talking about where like I don't believe this is the case. Sure enough, with like crazy hair, unshaved, like in the basement, right, just in like the back room. That's the one that blows up the most, right? Like, and it's so funny when it breaks it down. It's like AMC disclaimer. AMC is the biggest distraction. Like I don't know why these chapters are automatically made. What do you do? Divide and conquer, right? That's also what I was saying there too. Like if you don't want everyone to go into one position, right? Theoretically, you're a bad guy in this situation, right? Or you're a bad actor of some kind. You don't want everyone to be in GameStop. So what do? The next big play, the same thing, right? And that's where you also look and it's like, huh, AMC went higher than GameStop in June 2021. And why was that? If I think people are saying, oh, look, oh, AMC could be the one instead of GameStop, right? I understand it's only your opinion. The problem I have is nothing of what you said is backed by a source of data or research. If you show them proof that AMC's a distraction, it would prove your point a lot better. Word of mouth theory makes it hard to convince people. All right, it's a decently fair comment, but in hindsight, I was right. I predict this. No one listens to you if you talk about one stock. It's the only meme stock. See, I don't like meme stocks. There's meme stocks, and then there's GameStop. That's how I look at it, honestly. And to me, also, I've said this before. I'll say it again. There would be no category known as meme stocks if it wasn't for the whole GameStop situation. They had to throw it in this made up category of meme stocks, right? To force associate it with these other names. And it's just like, why? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, and all the other names that are associated with it, right? Have either performed very poorly or just flat out have not been good names, right? So to me, it's very interesting as to why this phenomenon became of meme stocks, right? And I bet people thought in January 2021, oh, this is like a fad. It's 2024, and the term meme stocks is still used. Financial media, on Twitter, Reddit, everywhere. It's crazy. AMC is more manipulated and shorter than GME, so you are wrong, sir. I agree to an extent. AMC will run high, but GME is a true mo-ass. Great. How can you say that? Do you have any idea how much this stock has been shorted? If Super Stock was a person. Ken Griffin's kid, laughing my ass off. Rolling on the floor laughing, says Dick Danger Moto. What a name. That makes AMC and GME different from any meme stock. They're all shorted. Why do you think their chart looks the same, similar all the time? If anything, you will make me want to buy more AMC. Every short talks about the MOAS. All shorts are soon going to have to be covered. Well, I'm a shill. I've been shilling GME. It was over $400 a share. If people only listen to my FUD, they could buy 5 times as many shares. Another part I was laughing is GME having the potential to reach millions. 70 million divided by 1 million. The billion you receive, you're not completely worth its paper. If you look back at they discussed placing several tickers on position close only, not just GME, or not just GME, not just AMC, but several. If you have been in this play long enough, you'd know which other ones. I'm sure I don't have to list them. The message got deleted. Did you delete it, or is it a bot? I didn't delete anything. You're right about so much. Oh, Mr. Doodle. Shout out Mr. Doodle. Been here a long time. Oh, that's the guy that was here. I don't know if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, right? Of saying like, "Oh yeah, like subscriber, you don't like poodles" or something weird like that. Was that him? I think, right? And if you're wondering why I like this one, right? I'm John Lacey. I know this guy. I own both AMC and GME, and he just was doing that for the longest time. He was like, I'm keeping AMC. I'm like, I this guy, he's my friend, so I roast. I was like, you are not thinking clearly, brother. That's what I was saying. I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking. And finally, like, I think like 6 months ago, after the whole ape thing, he's like, all right, I'm selling. I'm like, thank you. like I'm never gonna tell anyone what to do, but it's your friend in like life that you know, and you're like, brother, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, and it's so funny. You are half okay. I love that. AMC will go first. You should hold 200 plus and do yourself a favor and sell your AMC and buy GME. Exactly. Better sell half your dead cat AMC. I like to call it diversification. I probably should have, but I'm in it for the in it for the long term. I own 10 shares of Computershare. I hope you have some there as well. If it's not really in your name, it's in the broker's name. He is correct about that. It's in the name of C & Co. Wasn't spending $200 per share. You can get way more shares of AMC. AMC have more investors than GME. How's that age? Like milk? This is also the conclusion I came to. See, not the other one. What's the purpose of the video? To spread more fun and get more viewers? Why do you care about what stocks we own? I'm just sharing what I think. That's what YouTube's all about. And that's what's funny. People are like, oh, you're a stock influencer. I'm like, I'm really not. Like, I'm just documenting, right? Like, what I think. But CEO sells the stock. Ryan Cohen decides between hold and hodl. Facts. I was all in on AMC until a few weeks back when I realized the insider selling and float sides was just a big red side. I'm all in GME and I'm so happy I made the switch. Worked out very well for them. Wise observation, to quote Peter Lynch on the topic, insiders might, this quote's I've been using for so long, but it's so true, and it's a good one. Insiders might sell their shares for any number of reasons, but they only buy them for one. They think the price will rise. Doesn't matter. I believe enough people own AMC that way more than the float is being held by everyone. And then diluted an endless amount. It's strange that CNBC muted someone when they talked about AMC in February, and it's weird they showed AMC X a few times. No one's changing my minds. Only facts will. But y'all GME fanboys ain't ready for that convo. Y'all just paranoid. I just like this one. Has 838 million in AMC calls. The only way to cover GME is through AMC. Most can happen without AMC. I sold my entire GME position at 240 and squeezed it to 3400. Hedge funds rise up, cover GME right after. Seems to be worth more to GME for at least a day or two. I agree with you. Buy more AMC stock. This is the way. Well, what? I have both. No worries. Oh my god, these comments are like literally endless. Like it's crazy. Look at this. They just keep going. Like it's actually nuts. It's actually nuts. Boom, dude, spit truth. So it's so funny though. It was like a love-hate video. Some people like liked me for it, and other people like, nah, Tetron, what are you talking about, right? So funny, but good times to look back on. Agreed. AMC bankruptcy would be the best. Would be great for GameStop or them somehow doing well and making a profit. I think it works both ways. They won't make a profit though. I think you're right, dearest Jimmy. And it's sad, right? Like people are, oh, what do you don't like the movies? I'm like, no, I think the movies are great. And like, it's a sad thing, right? It is honestly a sad thing that, by the way, Ryan Cohen's ownership 10.5% now, adjusted after the membership. Oh my gosh, that's how you know it's almost time to wrap it up. Share issuance. But it's not that I want AMC to go bankrupt, right? Like, they just mismanage and they've really screwed people, and how they operate is just not efficient, right? I think Sinmark, if I'm not mistaken, who's a competitor, is profitable, and they had to shift their business in a way to get to a point where they're able to turn net profit. It's extremely difficult with the way streaming services have come about and how fast things go just from the movie theater directly to someone's TV. Most people are like, I'll just wait. And also how much it costs to go to a movie now, especially AMC. It's just ludicrous, right? Like, I took my girlfriend to a movie like a few months back, and like we got the base one, no 3D, no nothing, no snacks, anything. I think it was like $50 for two of us. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh, to see Dune 2, which I thought was pretty good. I enjoyed Dune. But I'm not even really a big movie guy in general. I'm more of a YouTube guy. Um, I Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really a big movie TV guy, especially the last few years. Just in general, that's not how I am. But it's not that I want movie theaters to die. Like people are like, oh, you don't like the movies? I'm like, no, it's just you look at the people and the company and like how the company operates. It's like, but Michael Cera, he'll play Tetra on the sequel. Michael, like I said, I don't watch too much TV and movies, so I have to look him up. I'm gonna look him up after this. I'm curious, but oh man, yeah, probably about time to wrap it up, guys. I'm getting burnt out. Moon and June, Diamond Hands. Thanks for being here. Your words, not mine. We'll find out. And June is my birthday month, so June 27th coming up. Crazy. Hope Brian Cohen spins off GameStop Gaming, gives us shares in Teddy Holding Company. Coffee Donuts and Homer. I don't know about that, honestly. I gotta be honest. I don't know about that. We'll have to see what it comes of it, but I think in some shape or form they are gonna do like execute on the investment policy, but I just don't see them like doing any kind of spin off necessarily, right? But you never truly know. AMC's hedge against GME. One will stop the run of the other, and Adam Aaron's one of them. Your words, not mine, brother. What is it? 110 Mahir. Thanks for being here. Yep, I think the shorts will screw with the 621 $20 call. Why would they let UBS off the hook? Yeah, that's a good question, Coffee. But the counterpoint is like, oh well, Archegos tossed the bag to Credit Suisse, and Credit Suisse got stuck holding the bag, and then UBS like swallowed them up. So that's what happened here, right? That's like kind of the theory behind it, but I don't know. Definitely getting burnt out, guys. Oh my god, it's like at the end of the streams, I'm like, oh, my brain's not even fully working. But this is just a wild daily chart, right? Look at this daily chart. It's actually crazy. And like all this volume. Again, look how volume stayed steadily high since Roaring Kitty's return, and even the day before, right? Look at that Thursday, Friday. We saw volume start to pick up, especially that Friday. Remember that was when if anyone caught it, I did like the stream outside. I was chilling, like, big price action. Week's done. Let's do a quick outside stream. But more for the CNK short squeeze, LOL. I don't used to work for Apollo Private Equity. It's just a skate AA, unfortunately. Yeah, no, diamond hands. That's the case, honestly. Paulo, as Badass Trader says. Coffee Donuts and Homer. If UBS hold the calls, they have the rights to shorts. UBS is an ally afterward. They will help us squeeze the shorts. If the shorts will push down to 19, UBS would be out of the money. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. There's all these different theories out there. It's very hard to say, but can access the options at any price. That is a good point. Yeah. Because if you do own the options, right, like you can exercise at any point. Like theoretically, right, those options could be exercised right now. But, why would they do that when it's like, when you account for the premium, it's like technically like 24. But, all right, guys, I think I got to wrap it up. I'm getting burnt out here and watch some playoff hockey, wind down. I know I got a busy day at work. It's always like, oh, it's so busy in my job lately. It's so annoying. But, I mean, that's life, right? Work gets busy, but just like more busy than usual. I'm like, I want to just be reading about what's going on and paying attention to things. But yeah, if you haven't followed already, at Tetron Invest, really appreciate if you guys could follow me there. Just keeping up with what I'm doing, and I'm always tweeting out like a stream schedule each week. So like, see here, put it out a little late. This was on Tuesday because these next few weeks going into my trip to Europe in early July, like the month of June's gonna be a little chaotic for me, but I'm mostly gonna do Monday and Wednesday, but keep an eye out. This past Monday, I was actually gonna do a stream Monday night, but remember I said I rolled my ankle or sprained it, or I don't know. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow to know for sure, but I literally couldn't put any weight on it, and like I was just so annoyed about it, and just like tired too from the weekend. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm sure you guys saw my video of my cousin I put out there where he's like, GameStop's the best stock on the market. Like, cheers, drink, drink, drink. So, and also I went to like a 1 day trip with my girlfriend to visit her longtime friend. It was like a far time away, so we had to drive all the way out there, stay over there night. So I was just burnt out by Monday night. See, time to wrap it up. I can't even speak English anymore. By the time Monday night rolled around, so yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I can't thank you enough, whether you're watching live, watching this back, watching a little bit or a lot of it. I really appreciate all of you. Again, just documenting my journey, calling it as I see it as time goes on, and I hope everyone out there has a fantastic night. Chat one more time. Good night, Chetron. Thanks, brother. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, no, as DRSG mentioned, coffee, exactly. Like you can theoretically do it at any time, but it's like if you have a $30 call option right now, why would you exercise at this point in time? You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't make sense because then the market makers are like, okay, once you easily go buy them in the open market and give them to you, you'll pay less. So typically, you exercise once they're deep in the money, and that's what DFV did with his deep in the money call options, and went, like right before his final YOLO update, right? But yeah, and then also people are like, when's DFE going to return? And I go back to this post I made, right? Where it's like, truth is, it doesn't matter if you post. There are many individuals who've been steadily accumulating GameStop shares for years through dollar cost averaging. His return was just an exciting time, right? The memes were a lot of fun. I'll definitely admit that. The memes were, and that was my follow up comment here, right? And yes, I will admit the memes are very enjoyable, but it has not and will not impact my decision making. It's the facts of the matter. So thank you again, guys. I really appreciate it. For real this time. I'm wrapping it up. I hope everyone out there has a great night. Can't thank you all enough for being here. Take care, everyone.